You have to get down! Just a big downpipe for a little car.
Yeah.
Hate doing that.
Yeah.
Felt that.
No. Yes, sir.
So basically what I'm doing is I'm just going through and making corrections to the fuel map based on my lambda correction. So right now I'm 2%. I'm happy with that. But if I wanted to, I could go there. It's neutralized. Perfect. And I can move through the map and the the dyno will hold. So I'm giving it gas. We're getting into boost. I can see my correction. And then we increase our speed. And the dyno will hold it. Like that. So we're fairly close. We're fairly close. That's pretty much it. That sounds amazing. Fun. You do that too long, it gets hot. Yeah. So you gotta let it back up. Although this car stays cool. Right now we're sitting at 84 degrees and it doesn't move from there. Okay. So that's pretty good. So yeah, basically we just go through and we just do each row as much as we can until we get up to here, and then we start doing ramp runs. And ramp runs you'll see in a minute. Okay. Where we just blast through. If you get up here and you hold it too long, it'll overheat almost instantly. Doesn't matter how much fan you have.
So we're not trying to get it to overheat right now.
No, we'll basically just spend some time, do it, let it cool, do it, let it cool, do it. Once we get up to around here, which I've kind of already done, then we start working into ramp runs, and that you'll see in a minute.
Okay. All right, thanks.
now we're there. But I think
Getting closer?
much closer. We're almost laying on top of each other there now.
Yeah.
So now I just have to work this little area right here. I think we need a little bit more in here. Little. One more time, then we'll give her a cool down.
More time?
Fuel pressure. This is useless. I should probably remove that. Boost solenoid duty. Lambda, which is your AFR. MAP is pressure. RPM. Fuel duty primary and secondary. That's important to make sure that the injectors are keeping up.
Okay.
EGT. So we have EGTs built in. So as I page through the run, you can see these values. So I can see them at any given spot. So the fueling is bang on. We're doing a little bit of a correction at the top, but nothing big. We're still only 50% duty, which means we still have tons of injector left.
Yeah.
The EGTs, I don't want to see them get close to 900. So right now we're like 819 on EGT2. And to be fair, I think EGT2 runs a little hotter because it's a little bit closer to the engine. The manifold didn't give me a choice as to where to weld the bung.
Okay.
So, yeah. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, it's pretty handy. And like, I can change my profile anytime I want to, like, you know, for example, if I'm doing, what would be a good one? So I can see what my primary and secondary injectors are doing. So basically you can see that the secondaries don't kick on until it gets to a certain point, and then it brings them in. And that is dictated by this table right here. So this table actually dictates how much of the secondary injectors it uses at any given time. So this is all boost, right? Anything above 100 kPa is boost.
Yeah.
So this whole area is basically where it's using the secondary injectors, and on cruise and everything, it's only using the primaries.
Okay.
So it only starts, so you can actually see it, see the pointer. So see here, we're starting to kind of bring them in. So they're showing 6.2% because we're interpolating here. So it's interpolating between these two cells, and it's finding, okay, I should run at about 6%, but we are in boost, so it should be there. And then as the run progresses, then you can see it phases them in. So now we're 14%, 16%, 38%, 48%. Sorry, so it's how much the primaries should give, and then the rest goes to the secondaries. So we're running the secondaries at 44%. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool way to stage stuff.
Sure.
So basically what we're doing is we're trying to get the right duty in order to meet our target. So we can see that we're targeting 210 kPa,
Yeah.
but we're actually only making 200 kPa. And then we can see our duty is 46%. So it's doing, I raised this already. So, but the table was set at 46%. So you can see that's the duty it was maintaining to keep this boost level, right? So basically I've increased it by like 6 or 7,
Okay.
hoping that the next pull, this will track. So the idea is to get these two laying on top of each other. And then we know that we're hitting our target, right? And then once
Right.
we're hitting our target, then we can go into closed loop. So right now we're in open loop base table tuning, meaning that the ECU will not attempt to make any changes. It'll just ignore. It'll just put what's in here. Once we go to closed loop, then it monitors the boost and tries to correct if there's any error.
Okay.
So that's the idea. So this one should hopefully hit target. And I've actually got it set up here so that this button on the keyboard changes my target. So you'll see when I hit the key, it'll move down here, active, and then now I've turned it off. So now we're back up to target table 1. So if I go like this and I hit the button, target table 2, target table 3, and then, you know. So right now I have 2 active because that's the one I'm trying to tune.
Okay.
So let's do a pull. Now my IATs are down, see? I went from 45 down to 35.
Oh, there you go.
For the cool down, that's what we're trying to do. So when we cool her down, that's what we're doing. Now. Pretty good. I'm just working this area. I'm going to try and get it on boost quicker now by throwing some duty in this area. So I think we can get a little bit more out of it. Let me chill out. I don't really care about this spot because this is like load up area where like I'm holding before I initiate the run, but I want this to all match. So I'm very close, but I've added duty to this spot here, which is going to correspond with this spot here. So I'm going to try and get this to come up a little better, just so we get better speed. Good. About as much as we're gonna get. With a nice cool down, it'll do better. Little better. So, looking at the graph and looking at how I'm controlling the boost and everything, the back end of the turbo is way too small.
Okay.
If I was to guess, we have tons and tons of back pressure, no good, also known as drive pressure.
All right.
Basically, that means that, yeah, we're putting 15 pounds in, but we might actually have 25 or 30 pounds at the turbo,
Okay.
which is no good. You want it to be 1-to-1, 15 in, 15 out.
All right.
You can creep up a bit, but the problem is that what I'm seeing too is that from 15 pounds to 18 pounds, we're only gaining like 20 horsepower, 15 horsepower. So that tells me that it's just done.
Okay.
It just doesn't want to do anymore. Not only that, but we're throwing massive amounts of duty, you know, like to make, 15 pounds, it's 30% duty on the gate. And to make, 18 pounds, it's like 70% on the gate.
Okay.
So it's bad.
What's ideal for you?
Ideal would be like it should respond, for every a couple PSI, we should be gaining like 20, 30, 40 horsepower.
Okay.
Especially with a turbo this size. Maybe not quite that, but it should respond a lot better. So, yeah, the writing's on the wall. The back of the turbo has to get bigger. That's pretty much it. So we'll tune it at this. He'll go and play around with it, get his feelings, and then we'll revisit with a bigger turbo maybe.
Okay. So what's our word for today? Are you done or?
Basically done, yeah. It's making 370 wheel when it's cool. I'm going to see if it makes like 380 when it's totally cool, but that's about what it's going to make, and we're just going to leave it at that and then let him try it out.
Okay. I'll look this way. And we'll try more later or at another time. You said the next half hour you're going to try and...
Yeah, let it cool down for like 45 minutes. Give it one more hit on high boost, see what happens, and then...
Expecting any change from there?
It might make like another 10 horsepower. Yeah, it might be happier when it's cold.
All right, well...
So we'll see what happens.
Let's call it a day and catch us in the next part. Another update.